Well, working on the boat again. In case you're not aware, in case you haven't seen the other videos, in case I haven't actually made the other videos yet, myself and my buddy Charlie are putting a boat back together, ostensibly for a trip to Destin, Florida, from Kingston, Tennessee. Now, this trip was entirely my idea some 13 years ago. It is possible to take a boat from Kingston, Tennessee, in the Knoxville area, down the Tennessee River, down the Tombigbee Waterway, out into the Gulf of Mexico at Mobile, and then across the top of the Gulf of Mexico to Destin. Some 13 years ago I was working in the Gulf of Mexico area, and I kept driving by Destin and seeing that beautiful clear blue water and all those people enjoying themselves in their boats, out of their boats, wading in the water beside their boats. It's beautiful. I really wanted to be a part of that. And my buddy Charlie had just bought his first boat. And so I got an idea. You ask my wife, I'm really good at those. Charlie was enthralled. He liked the idea. Problem was, the boat he'd bought was, well, one of those nightmare boats where everything was broken, leaking, didn't work. By the time he got that thing where it would actually run in the water, he was so ready to sell it. It got sold from one weekend to the next. I was here one weekend, so was the boat. Next weekend I came over, boat gone. That's okay. He'd already bought another boat, and we started working on that. And we worked on it, and worked on it, and worked on it as long as we could, when we could. In the meantime, I changed jobs a couple times, ended up working out of town again in another job, and it took us a while. We got that boat ready, and Charlie decided, you know what, really, I don't trust just one engine. We need a twin-engine boat for this trip because it's 1,000 miles by water, and there's just too many chances for one engine to give out and for us to be stuck floating down the Mississippi. And you know, the Mississippi rolls really fast, and it's really dangerous. And I had to tell him repeatedly, we're not going to hit the Mississippi. But it didn't matter. It didn't. So we sold that boat and another boat that he had picked up along the way. That was a really nice cruiser. It wasn't really a cruiser. It was a cuddy cruiser, but it was really more of a day boat, and it was a lot of fun to ride. And the Ultra was, I thought, perfect for the trip. It was big enough for us to be comfortable for a couple of weeks, small enough to trailer fairly easily, and well, gotta have twin engines. So I found another boat that supposedly just needed some minor work. It's a much nicer boat, slightly bigger, certainly wider, twin engine. I said, all right, you bought all these boats, I will talk you into this boat, because I think our chances of getting on the river and down to Destin are better in this boat. I am humbled. We have spent way more time than we expected getting the engines running right. We're close. One engine that was just flat out not even turning over, we got that unstuck and got it running nice. The other engine that had been running quit running on us, and we discovered it was a fuel issue. It's actually leaking fuel into the cylinders to the point where it was hydrolocking. Imagine that. But we're about to get that fixed. What am I doing right now, you might ask? I am cutting fiberglass. Why am I cutting fiberglass? Into tiny little chunks. Well, some of you have dealt with fiberglass, you already know. I'm making what's called peanut butter. Why am I making this? And, well, first let's explain what peanut butter is. Peanut butter is basically fiberglass fibers cut into very short lengths, mixed with the normal two-part epoxy that, or resin, excuse me, not epoxy, resin that you use fiberglass in the first place. But this mixture with really small threads can be just wadded up into something that looks like, well, it doesn't look like, but it has the feel of peanut butter. And you can stuff it into corners and along edges and stuff. And we're going to need that. Because the one thing that we knew about the boat before we bought the boat was that the swim platform had been damaged. So we're getting to that part now. Supposed to fill this jug. I've been at this an hour. We're getting there. Anyway, he's going to make the fiberglass repairs on that. And we're going to wait for a bracket to come in for us to install the new and improved fuel pump for this boat. Because the original fuel pump that is on it for the TBI, well, they discontinued it because it had issues. And so now you can't find parts for it. Anyway, 13 years. 13 years, the price of fuel has tripled since then. And I just don't know how we can justify the trip at all. 1,000 miles by water. And a boat this size with twin engines probably going to get about 2 miles a gallon. It's 500 gallons of fuel just to get to Destin. And at $4 a gallon, $5 a gallon, sure, you do the math. I'll do some of it for you. If it's $5, it's $2,500. $2,500. Yeah. Just in fuel. $5 a gallon, 500 gallons. $2,500 in fuel alone. Mind you, that's 1,000 miles there. We're not going to even try to ride the boat back because even, running at planing speed of about 25 knots, a boat this size, running about 6 or 7 hours a day, it's going to take us several days. I mean, like 6, maybe 7. So if we're actually going to enjoy anything about this trip, we need to add a couple of days in Destin to actually enjoy Destin, and really we need to slow down along the way and enjoy some of the sights that we will pass. We're going to go through several locks, and I do mean like 12, 15 locks. Been too long since I actually mapped it out for me to remember exactly how many at this point. Anyway, some of the other things we'll see. Pass through Chattanooga. We plan on stopping there, having dinner, doing a bunch of sightseeing. There's lots of things in Chattanooga. Of course, we've seen Chattanooga. We live relatively close to it. Beyond that is the gorge. And that's going to be pretty, but that's not something you stop to see. So we're going to take pictures along the way. We're going to pass places like Huntsville, Alabama. Now, the river is not really... Huntsville is not really on the river. but it's close enough that we can stop there, take a taxi into town, and go see the Air and Space Museum, which is pretty spectacular. Both of us have been there before, but it would be an interesting addition to our trip. There are various and sundry natural phenomenon along the way, well documented, that we can see some historical sites. I'm going to go through a few towns because, you know, it's a major river. Tennessee River is a major river. And there's going to be a lot of towns on the river. There's also going to be thousands and thousands of miles with absolutely no contact with civilization whatsoever. I'll take some pictures. In the meantime, today I am cutting fiberglass. I'll try to keep you updated.